While honeymooning in Maine, my wife and I stopped in the picturesque town of Booth Bay on a particularly dreary and rainy day. Since our planned picnic was out of the question, we thought we should shelter in a dilapidated little antique store near the harbor. While my wife inspected the large chests and side tables near the door, I eagerly examined the antique tools and seafaring equipment inside the glass sales counter at the back. Being a collector of optics and mariner's instruments, I hoped to find a sextant or perhaps an old leather-bound telescope. A particularly interesting piece caught my eye. It appeared to be a heavy brass flashlight, bearing a worn brown patina but remarkably modern design. I asked the shopkeeper, but he could only tell me it was found in the same old sailor's chest as several of the compasses and the sextant also on display. He inquired as to whether I would like to purchase it for $5, or perhaps have it for free. "It's worthless to me. Nobody wants it." When I remarked about the price, he sighed wearily and then reached into the cabinet and retrieved it for me. "Here, see for yourself, feller." The craftsmanship was wonderful, quite durable and apparently handmade, perhaps somewhere in Europe. Worn lettering indicated it might be German or perhaps Austrian in origin. I twisted the bulb housing and a weak red beam swept out. Poking into a dark corner of the shop, I was greeted with fantastic monotone swirls, moving and entwining with each other over a pit of eels. As I stared further into this unusual projector kaleidoscope, my fanciful mind invented ghoulish faces and sinuous, gnarled tendrils. Shutting the device off, I turned excitedly to the shopkeeper. "Fantastic," I said. "It must have an oil filter of sorts in the front of the lens. I have 2 Victorian kaleidoscopes, but none are illuminated like this." "You don't get it, do you?" "Nobody gets it. They all come back and return it after a while." The shopkeeper leaned in on the counter, and I could see that he was breathing heavily and perspiring. "They all think it's some sort of trick, till they start seeing that. They start seeing those goddamn things when the lights go off. That ain't no projection, mister. That damn thing, that light, it ain't making up those creatures. No, it's just letting your eyes see what's already there." I was driving home one late summer evening. It was dark and everyone was in their beds. My eyelids felt heavy as I struggled to pay attention to my driving on the dark and empty, cold country road. I knew this road so well I probably could drive home with my eyes closed. Didn't sound like a bad idea as I sleepily nodded off. Before I knew it, my eyes were closed and I was asleep for a couple of seconds before jerking my head back up and shifting my body in the seat. I rolled down my window and let the cool air blast onto my face. It was so refreshing. I was almost home. Just need to focus on driving a little longer, and then I can collapse in my soft bed. Alright. Focus. Focus. I opened my eyes. I must have fallen asleep again. I noticed something in the middle of the road ahead, but I was still waking up and it didn't even cross my mind yet that I should slow down. It all happened so fast. My eyes saw a deer. They widened as I slammed on the brakes. It was a doe, and it glowed white in the headlights. But the one thing that was strange and caught my attention, the thing was bounding right towards my car. Adrenaline suddenly shot through my body and I felt numb. I swerved the vehicle in hopes of evading a collision with this maniac animal. Split seconds seemed like minutes. Seconds themselves seemed like hours. I heard a thump as I sideswiped the deer, but managed to get right back on the road. And that's when I looked in my rearview mirror. I swear I heard a woman's blood-curdling scream. The deer was still running straight forward, but somehow its neck was completely twisted around, as if broken in half, and it was looking at me still, its mouth gaped open. It disappeared into the darkness behind me, along with that decrepit, horrifying screaming. I woke up in my bed, the sun peeking into the windows between the curtains. Was that a dream? It must have been. My body still felt shaky and paralyzed from the nightmare, and I was wet with sweat. After laying there for a while, reviewing the strange dream in my head, I finally had the ability to move again. I rolled over to look out the window beside my bed. The white deer was staring at me with pinkish red, soulless eyes. And it screamed. Coffins used to be built with holes in them, attached to 6 feet of copper tubing and a bell. The tubing would allow air to flow through for victims who were buried under the mistaken impression they were dead. In a certain small town, Harold, the local gravedigger, upon hearing a bell one night, went to go see if it was the children pretending to be spirits. Sometimes it was the wind. This time, it wasn't either. It was a voice below, begging and pleading to be unburied. "Are you Sarah O'Bannon?" Harold asked. "Yes, yes," the muffled voice asserted. "You were born on September 17th, 1827, correct?" "Yes." "The gravestone here says you died on February 20th, 1857? "No, I'm alive. It was a mistake. Please, dig me up and set me free." "Sorry about this, ma'am," Harold said, stepping on the bell to silence it and plugging up the copper tube with dirt. "But this is August. Whatever you are down there, you sure as hell ain't alive no more. And you ain't coming up." Think about what lies in that dark corner of your room for a second. The small little area you have to squint to see into. The area that you fear because of all the horrifying things that could be there. I've heard them all. Spiders, clowns, psychopaths. Every little thing that you imagine is scary. You are wrong. What you imagine couldn't be further from the truth. My friend, it is what you can't imagine that is the scariest of all. Trust me. For I am what you can't imagine. And I am far, far worse.